Hey and welcome to another anime recap. Carol invites both Tomo and Misuzu over to her house. Upon arriving at the front gate of Carol's house, Carol's mother Ferris questions them if they're bad people. She also mistakes Tomo for a man, but Ferris allows them to enter her estate after learning the contrary. Upon arriving at their house, Carol, dressed in a bunny-themed outfit, embraces Tomo and tries to do the same with Misuzu, but she coldly denies it. They're then led to Carol's room, which Tomo fawns over and claims that Carol is a princess, sitting on Carol's bed. Carol shows Tomo her baby pictures as Misuzu sips some tea at a table nearby. When Misuzu leaves to use the restroom, Ferris follows her and asks Misuzu if she's a bad girl. Unamused by the question, Misuzu asks if being Carol's friend just for her money could label her as one. However, Ferris laughs at the question, claiming she's cute. Meanwhile, Tomo plays Othello with Carol, who easily wins against Tomo after 5 minutes. Once Misuzu returns, Tomo volunteers her to play against Carol, only for her to lose 10 minutes later. Before they leave, Ferris both Tomo and Misuzu while asking them to return one day. Tomo was anxious about the upcoming midterm exam because she had completely forgotten about it. Hence, Misuzu suggests having a study group over at her house along with Carol. Just then, Jun asks to study with Tomo after school. Misuzu asks what Jun ranked in their middle school finals, and he answers 30th, which Misuzu claims she ranked in first, leaving him despondent. Afterward, Tomo and the group arrive at Misuzu's house, where moments later, Misuzu's mother Misaki arrives home. Immediately, Misaki mistakes Tomo for her mother Akemi and warns her not to become like her mother. Carol then introduces herself to Misaki, noting she's as cute as her daughter, which earns Misaki's disapproval. Later, in Misuzu's room, Tomo and Misuzu studied math, and Tomo was puzzled by a long equation problem. Before Misuzu can help solve it, Carol blurts out the answer and then explains how she solved it to Tomo. Pulling back their attention to her, Misuzu continues helping Tomo with her study. Grateful toward Misuzu, Tomo claims she'll be smart enough to attend Misuzu's university choice. The revelation surprises Misuzu, and when Carol signals her, Misuzu allows Carol to attend her university too. On the day of the midterm test results, Tomo placed 70th, Jun 54th, Misuzu 2nd, and Carol surprisingly in 1st. Jun informs Tomo that he bought the game that Tomo wanted to play called Winners 11. She recounts calling Jun Gamer Kid when they were younger, which Jun rebukes not to address him by that ever again. He then asks if Tomo wants to come over and play games with him, and he immediately agrees. Though, afterward, Tomo regrets impetuously agreeing to Jun's offer and vents this to Misuzu and Carol. However, they team up on Tomo and coerce her not to reject Jun's offer. After school, Jun asks if Tomo wants to walk home with him, but Tomo claims that she has already promised Misuzu and Carol that she was going to walk home with them. At home, Tomo informs her mom that she's staying at Jun's house for the night. Akemi noted her surprise at how fast things were progressing between Jun and Tomo and pondered what she'd name her grandchild, which upset Tomo. On the other hand, when her father was informed about the situation, his response was milder and more mature than his wife's. Once at Jun's home, Tomo was greeted by Jun and was left astounded that Jun's mother wasn't home. Later, they enjoy some curry that Jun prepared himself, and Tomo offers to make some in the future, which interests Jun. He then suggests that Tomo take a bath before their gaming night together, but after hearing Jun took one earlier, eventually, Tomo takes her shower, and after drying herself off, they play Winners 11 together. In the beginning, Tomo won against Jun, but in the sequential matches, Jun won, discouraging Tomo. They continue playing until 10 p.m. and decide to call it a night. Laying in Jun's bed, Tomo internally notes its distinct smell, and Jun then asks her if today was fun. Before he can finish the rest of his sentence, he falls asleep, and wanting to get a closer look at Jun, Tomo examines his face, causing him to hold her in his sleep. The following day, Jun wakes up and finds Tomo sleeping beside him and freaks out. Afterward, at school, Tomo's monologue reveals that Jun and her didn't talk that much with Jun a week after she stayed at Jun's house. Outside of Tomo's house, Jun gives Tomo a pair of sunglasses for her birthday, and she gleefully accepts them, but also teases him about how she's older than her. Later, at school, Tomo shows off her new shades to Misuzu, who was also subjected to Tomo's ageism antics. Misuzu then gives her birthday present to Tomo, some reference books that Tomo unhappily accepts. Just then, Carol, humming a tune, arrives and presents Tomo with a gold bar for her birthday. Hatching a plan, Misuzu whispers something into Carol's ear and asks that Tomo come to her house that weekend. Curious about why, Carol blurts out that it's a makeover party, causing Misuzu to elbow Carol in the side. At Misuzu's home, Tomo's appearance gets a makeover to feminize her by Misuzu and Carol. Once they do this, they force Tomo to buy some ice cream at a convenience store for them, which she begrudged does and runs into Jun there. On the other hand, Jun was in complete disbelief that the pretty girl that entered the store was Tomo. As Tomo leaves the store, she trips and falls, and Jun, uncertain whether Tomo is the pretty girl, offers to help her up. A sheepish Tomo accepted his help and was flustered by how gently he treated her. As he tries to leave, Tomo stops Jun, politely asking if she could walk with him for a while. Tomo would later regret requesting this, and while they're walking, Jun concludes that the girl isn't Tomo. Soon after, they stop and watch some middle school kids play soccer together. Two kids stick out to Jun the most as they interact similarly to how Tomo and he typically act. A heart-to-heart between Tomo and Jun, who still didn't realize the pretty girl was Tomo, plays out concerning his relationship with Tomo. It abruptly stops when Jun points out that Tomo's ice cream has begun to melt. Tomo then rushes back to Misuzu's house, where she catches Misuzu and Carol preparing some decorations for a surprise party for her. Enjoying the strawberry cake that Misuzu and Carol bought for her, Tomo explains her interaction with Jun. The next day, Jun meets Tomo outside her home and grabs her cheeks. Enraged, Tomo knocks out Jun, who is glad that only a punch like that would come from Tomo. Because of Tomo's aggressive nature during the girls' dodgeball game, she's reallocated to the boys' team for the upcoming tournament. On the tournament day, Tomo and Jun's team blaze through the first 2 rounds. Tomo and Jun believe they'll win the tournament's final round without difficulty. However, they're then informed by a panic-stricken Tatsumi that one of the players' caliber on their upcoming opponent's team is like a gorilla. Jun deduces it's the third-year judo student Goma, and he and Tomo are fired up to fight against him. Before the final round begins, Goma proposes to Jun that if his team wins, Jun will join his judo club. Jun confidently accepted the proposal, but could not think of a counter-offer. At the start of the match, a distracted Tatsumi was taken out, followed by team players Noda and Fukaya. In retaliation, Tomo tries to get Goma out, but he catches her throw and returns it with a power throw at her, but Jun takes the hit. Enraged, Tomo throws the ball at Goma, but it passes under his legs, where Tomo had hoped it would be caught by Jun. It's caught by Tatsumi, who takes advantage of the flustered moment and gets Goma out, thereby winning the match for his team. For their achievement, Tomo's team wins an award. Soon after, Goma confronts Jun and challenges him to a judo match, which Jun easily wins the first time he faces off against him. In the sequential matches, Goma wins more than Jun, but accepts it as his loss because they fought by judo, not karate. Despite that comment, Jun rejects the notion and, before leaving, answers Goma's question about why he doesn't participate in tournaments. Jun answers that his goal is to reach the same level as someone he chases after, but was uncertain how he could achieve it. Afterward, Jun and Tomo walk home together and talk about Jun's judo match against Goma. During it, Jun realizes that he not only wants to be stronger than Tomo, he wants to be more like her. Junichiro flashes back to when he first met Tomo. His family moved into town from Tokyo, and he preferred playing video games. When Tomo leaped over the wall to meet her new neighbor and played with his handheld console. However, Tomo ended up breaking it in half. Tomo and her parents then apologized to Junichiro personally. The replacement handheld was later stolen by some bullies. Tomo beat them up and got the handheld back, but Junichiro let Tomo keep it, claiming he would take it back when he proved he was strong enough to stand up with Tomo. Tomo continues playing said handheld in the present, wondering when Junichiro will come to take it back. Tomo and her friends head to the beach where Tomo tries to get closer to Junichiro by putting on a swimsuit. Junichiro cannot bring himself to say that they are a couple, even while defending her from a pushy guy trying to hit on her. Misuzu encourages Tomo to continue staying close with Junichiro to create more opportunities to upgrade their relationship. On the train ride home, Misuzu thinks her plan succeeded. Tomo is challenged by Misuzu to attend the upcoming fireworks festival with Junichiro. She nervously asks him to go with her, and he agrees. While Misuzu, Carol, and Kasuke hang out, Tomo win all the prizes in a shooting game, where the operator alerts all the stall managers, sending them a picture of Tomo, now unrecognizable in a yukata. Junichiro takes Tomo to a special spot to watch the fireworks and she thinks of confessing again. Meanwhile, Junichiro recalls Tomo's previous confession, convincing himself that she was not being serious. The gang targets Misuzu to get back at Tomo. Her demonic aura initially scares them, but she says Carol is not her friend to spare her. Upset, Carol tases the gang leader and a chase ensues. While hiding, Misuzu calls Junichiro, with Tomo following. They defeat the gang, while Misuzu apologizes to Carol. Misuzu later blackmails the gang into becoming their bodyguards, which they do after learning Tomo is Goro's daughter. The next day, Junichiro joyfully holds Tomo to walk to school, delighting her. A flashback reveals the moment Kasuke first met and became enamored with Carol. In the present, Kasuke enrolls into Goro's dojo, becoming overwhelmed. When asked by Tomo why did he enter, he reveals he wants to become stronger for Carol's sake. The next day, Carol mistakenly believes Kasuke is attracted to Tomo, so she goes into Junichiro's house to make him jealous. Once this work, Kasuke finally reveals his love for Carol to Misuzu, explaining he has been unable to tell her due to having never seen her vulnerable. To help him, Misuzu makes some painful comments regarding Kasuke's interest for her to Carol, making her flee the school, cry. Realizing her mistake, Misuzu sends Kasuke to Carol's home. There, he tells Carol about Misuzu's lie, and finally confesses his love. Delighted, she accepts Kasuke's confession, and her mother trusts Carol to him after he promises she will not change the way she is as she now has friends. The next day, Carol gets back at Misuzu by scaring her. Tomo and Jun are excited to run in their school's marathon. The two of them easily race past the rest of their class. But on the way back, Tomo collapses from exhaustion, revealing that she also ran for hours the night before. Junichiro carries her piggyback style to the school nurse, where Misuzu suggests that she should take advantage to appear more vulnerable to Junichiro. Tomo eventually convinces Junichiro to carry her again so her mother can drive her to the hospital. When Junichiro later visits Tomo, she gives him back his handheld from years ago, claiming that he finally caught up to her in physical prowess. Junichiro flashes back to his middle school days, reminiscing about his relationship with both Tomo and Misuzu. Tomo gets a part-time job at a ramen shop owned by Tatsumi's family, with Misuzu as a waitress and Carol playing a mascot role. Misuzu and Tomo are both shocked to see Junichiro visit, but Jun's compliments raise Tomo's spirits as she works. At the end of the weekend, all three girls get extra pay for their exceptional work. Tomo uses the money to buy Jun a birthday present and some cake. Jun suggests they eat it at her house. The next day, Tomo asks Misuzu for advice on getting closer to Jun, so she sets a trap to push Jun down the stairs and have Tomo catch him. However, he dodges at the last second and stumbles into Carol instead. Misuzu starts to feel guilty about getting between Tomo and Jun, and takes multiple sick days out of school. Tomo decides to take the initiative and visit Misuzu at home, giving her a copy of the script to their class play, Cinderella. Misuzu shows up the next day, angry that she was cast as the lead by Carol without her knowledge, while Tomo was cast as the prince, Carol as the evil stepmother, and Jun as a tree.